I put myself on mute.
All right. Come on in, everyone. Welcome to tonight's Members Night. My name is Keith Chasson, Double Diamond with Neumi. I'll be your host for tonight. We got a very special pre-recorded training from our upline Neumi Crown, Michael Firth. But prior to getting started, I want to invite everyone to reach out one more time to your team. Invite them to get in on this amazing training. You'll have about 30 seconds to do so before we actually crank it up. So that timer starts now. So let's get them all. All righty, and tonight's presentation is in English, and for our non-English speaking Neumi family, we do have captions enabled, so take a listen to this.
Por favor, vaya a la parte inferior de la pantalla en Zoom o YouTube y haga clic en subtítulos para leer en español.
Kérlek, menj a képernyő aljára, a Zoomon vagy a YouTube-on, a Closed Caption részre, és ott el tud olvasni magyarul a feliratot.
Silakan klik di layar bawah pada Zoom atau YouTube dan klik caption untuk membaca dalam bahasa Indonesia.
Pour les sous-titres en français, veuillez cliquer au bas de votre écran Zoom ou YouTube sur CC ou Closed Captions.
Zoom または YouTube の画面の下部に移動し、字幕をクリックして日本語で読んでください。
請到屏幕底部點閱隱藏字幕以閱讀中文。
Παρακαλώ πηγαίνετε στο κάτω μέρος της οθόνης, στο Zoom ή στο YouTube και κάντε κλικ στους υπόλοιπους για να τα διαβάσετε στα ελληνικά.
請到屏幕底部點擊隱藏字幕以閱讀中文.
אנא עברו לתחתית המסך בזום וביוטיוב ולחצו על תרגום לכתוביות בעברית.
Proszę zejść na dół ekranu na Zoomie lub YouTubie i kliknąć napisy, żeby przeczytać po polsku.
All right, so as the Diamond Cruise comes to an end, we have a very special training tonight from Neumi's Crown Diamond, Michael Firth. It is pre-recorded, so let me cue that up. And share my screen and we'll get it started. So I heard this training, y'all. You want to get a pen and paper out and get ready to take some notes because this is some good stuff. So here we go.
All right. Thank you for that amazing introduction. And I also want to thank Karen Justice for asking me to be on today's call. The timing was absolutely perfect because you guys may or may not know, we've been working on a sports testimonial project behind the scenes. There was a few tools we're about to launch. So today's session, you're going to hear it split into three. What do I mean by that? Well, stage one, just going to give you a bit of an intro. Then stage two, you'll hear me restart, and then we're going to create a tool live on this event today. And then stage three, I'm going to give you some tools for those people who really want to drive it as well. So I always get on the calls and say, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, no matter where you're from. Well, right now it is about 2 a.m. for me. So that's why you're watching a recording. I've recorded this specifically for Karen's event, and you guys have the benefit of being first worldwide to hear everything I'm about to talk about, which is a big advantage, I've got to say. So basically, we've been doing a sports performance test project now in Australia, New Zealand for a couple of months. How it's worked is I've gifted some product to some athletes on the understanding that they will then write a testimonial for us. Well, what we didn't expect was about out of 50 athletes, 75% of them have already given us spectacular feedback and testimonials that you're going to have access to from today forward. Plus, they've also told other people, brought other people in, and the word's starting to spread. Now, I want to say for anyone's watching this, is our product specifically designed just for athletes? No. You're going to hear it when I go through the next segment, how it has a huge impact on athletes. But everyday people need our product as well. Why did we go down the route of sports testimonials? Because they're safe. What does that mean? Well, I had a lady yesterday in one of our social media groups say, why do I see sports testimonials and I don't say anything about arthritis? Well, because we can't use that word. It's actually against compliance. So a sports testimonial is about performance. So I want to say this. If all these athletes who are at the highest possible part of their game suddenly get better results, what does that tell you an everyday person's going to get? Okay, so it's easy when we demonstrate spectacular results for athletes at the top end. It means an everyday person is going to get much better results anyway. So with that in mind, as I said, we're going to create a tool from this. So you're going to see me restart now. Then I'm going to go through the sports testimonial video that will be permanent. You'll have access to, and then I'm going to, at the end, I'm going to break it very quickly, and then I'm going to go through some of the tools that you're going to have access to after this session again today. So. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Michael Firth, my name, founding Field Advisory Board member and Crown with Neumi. And it's my pleasure to talk about today the results that we're seeing, which are spectacular regarding sports performance and the Neumi products. Now, as I say that, I want to say one thing. It doesn't matter to me whether you are an elite athlete or you're in cricket or soccer or what have you. Absolutely everyone from any sporting code can benefit, and I'm going to show you through this presentation pretty much every sporting code has been represented. So whether you just want to go on a fun run on the weekend and compete and get to the finish line for the first time ever, maybe you want to be first in your race and you want to push that performance boundary, maybe you're just a gym goer who's going there like me for strength and mobility as you age, or maybe you're there because you're a power lifter and you want to do your absolute best and break a world record. We're going to show you those today. Maybe you're batting a cricket ball or a baseball or a rugby ball. Maybe you're chasing a football. Maybe you're riding a bike, a cyclocross bike, a mountain bike, a racing bike. Maybe you're a boxer. Maybe you're in some sort of martial arts. It doesn't matter. I'm going to show you every one of those today. And again, I want to finish by saying, it doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter how young you are. Everyone can benefit from what I'm about to go through. So, quick science lesson. If you're watching this video for the first time, maybe the person who invited you to watch it has or hasn't told you a little bit about glutathione and what that is, because there's a lot of hype out there about all sorts of things, creatines, etc., etc. You're going to see now the most studied molecule in medicinal chemistry, and you're going to see results that will blow your mind. So, what is glutathione? Glutathione is in every single cell of your body. Every one of us has it. It's known as the master antioxidant of your body. It's the protector, the detoxifier of your cells, the key to life, health, performance, protection, even the longevity of every human cell. Now, glutathione is one of these rare antioxidants because it's much more powerful than any other antioxidant you can consume. It even recycles itself and also recycles vitamin C and vitamin D as well. Now, I said earlier that it is the most studied molecule in medicinal chemistry. Right now, as of yesterday, when I did the last search, there's 196,000 peer-reviewed studies about why you need to boost glutathione, and there's only 80,000 on, say, vitamin C that we take for granted. Now, a bit of my background, I've been involved in the glutathione supplementation world through every form of glutathione supplementation you can dream of, and I can tell you nothing, not patches, potions, lotions, pills, precursors, liposomals, none of them, none, get anywhere near the same results. Now, when I started in the glutathione world back 18 years ago, there was maybe 50 or 60,000 studies on vitamin C and the same amount on glutathione. But what's happened? Glutathione has taken off and vitamin C and all those have pretty much stalled. Why is that? It's the emerging market. But here's the exciting part. What I'm about to show you today, we have a delivery method that amplifies the results of that ingredient. And that's why everyone who's jumped into the glutathione world is still, I'd like to use the analogy, they have a beta cassette when we have an MP3 because they're still using liposomals, patches, etc., right? So as you age, your glutathione levels decrease the longer you're alive. That's a clinical fact, 10 to 12% per decade. Now, continuous attacks on your cells by the invasion of toxins, heavy metals, radiation, free radicals can cause damage and expedite the aging process. Glutathione levels are also amplified in terms of the results, decreasing by things such as injuries, infections, diseases, certain pharmaceuticals, smoking, drinking, etc. But here's the biggest thing I want to get to. Glutathione is meant to do 4 functions in the body. It does 400 functions, but it's known for 4 main pillars. One of them is boosting your energy, boosting your immune system, detoxing your cells, and reducing inflammation. So here is the biggest one for you athletes out there. Did you know it's a clinical fact that your body's stored up levels of glutathione that you've built up burn 40% of them in the first 10 minutes of aerobic exercise? That's why you're going to hear athletes who have been using our product during their tests and actually during their results, during their gym sessions, their races, their competitions, and just busting it out there. Some world records as well. So we have fixed a problem. They say if you want to be successful in business, find a problem and fix it. Now, the problem is studies show that 90% of oral supplements are not fully absorbed by the body. In fact, they say only a fraction of the nutrients get to where they really need to be. So their methodology is to bump more and more and more milligrams in, hoping that some gets to where it needs to be. Now, for us, we just transformed the industry by inventing something called hydrostat. And hydrostat is a delivery method. It's a proprietary production process that sets us apart, where we deliver high quality, in fact, only the highest of quality ingredients, directly to the cells in under 70 seconds. So into the bloodstream in 30 seconds, into the cells in 70 seconds, and the results will speak for themselves as you see them. So there are three things that make us very different. I said I've been involved in glutathione supplementation using every other delivery method, and none of them come close. Have a look at this. Neumi's molecular ingredients are between 10 and 100 millimicrons. What's that? That means 10 nanometers. Now, if you have an ingredient, and I'll just give you a quick science lesson. Human hair. There you go. Can't even see that on the screen. Human hair is 80 to 100,000 nanometers. Now, if you took, say, the liposomals of the world and things like that, they generally get down to 300 nanometers. So technically, they're in the realms of nanotechnology. Here's what you need to know. You need to be down under 30 nanometers if you want to penetrate the blood-brain barrier. None of them are. You need to be under 10 nanometers if you want to absorb into your human cell. None of them are. So it's impossible to compare with another ingredient because they're just not accessing the cells in exactly the same way. And that's the key point. So our cell size is the biggest difference. The second thing that makes us different is surface contact. See this diagram on the right? See how a molecular ingredient touches a human cell, but then you see the difference with hydrostat. So we'll go through it again. Basically, a cell will only absorb whatever the molecule it touches and how much surface contact. Now, we can get up to 200 times greater contact with the hydrostat process, which amplifies the results. Then we deliver those ingredients and those particles using ultra purified water molecules, which is about 40% purer than a hospital IV. Now, I say this because I have been involved in the liposomal delivery in the past, but I found the results didn't come close. And also, liposomals use lipids, which is fats, to deliver their ingredients. And unfortunately, fats do attract toxins. So there's nothing purer in the world than the hydrostat process. So these are the three things that make us completely unique and different. Now I'm going to show you some results which you're going to be gobsmacked. Your jaw will hit the ground. This is Bill Gillespie. I mentioned that I've been in the glutathione space now for 18 years. Well, many years ago, this gentleman who started tracking himself as a powerlifter in the USA from 23 years of age right through to today, we had him on a glutathione precursor right here. And it's interesting. He went out and busted the world records. That was his highest lifts he'd ever done. And then he continued to use that precursor, but as he got older, the results started to dwindle. And if you talk to any powerlifter, they'll tell you, you can't lift more at 60 than 50 if you're already on some sort of supplementation. Well, let me show you. We wondered what would happen 10, 11 years later if we got Bill to take this form of glutathione delivery. And boom, the results. Let's check it out. 1,129 pounds. You can see the day that we gave him the product, it started to increase immediately. So here he was at 62 years of age, and Bill went out and busted all the world records in terms of the bench press at 513 kilograms, which is just phenomenal. Now, I just did a rotacuff injury myself at the gym, and that was on 70 kilograms, just so we're putting it in some sort of perspective. Phenomenal results. Now, Bill was our early poster boy for Neumi when we launched, showing that categorically, if you use this delivery method, you can amplify the results of something he was already using in the past. Then we started to get the word out. And I'm going to now give you a very quick introduction to Janessa Curtis. She is a world champion powerlifter and personal trainer in the USA as well. She's back-to-back 2 times world champion with 6 world records under her belt. And she says, I highly recommend Neumi because it helps with building strength and recovery. And this is a quick video she put out. Have a listen to this.
I want to do another shout out to Neumi. This is a supplement company or supplement that I use. It's glutathione, and it helps with recovery. And let me tell you, this was game changing. Love it. Highly recommend it. And it's fantastic if you're an athlete or if you're just a person who wants to recover. It's a supplement that our body naturally makes, but we stop making it as we're getting older, and it starts reducing, which is why we start having muscle loss in our body. So again, really grateful for Neumi for the supplements that they've given me, and they've helped me with recovery and building my strength. So huge shout out to them.
Right. Now, since she did this, you'll probably notice the little logo on the screen here, which is True Shield. We're really excited to say that we also now have True Shield certification. What is that? Well, if you're an Olympian or an elite athlete, anti-doping is a very important thing for you. And True Shield is one of the most respected people who deal with WADA, the World Anti-Doping Agency, and they are testing our product. They have tested our products in batch testers. It's now listed there as completely safe. So it doesn't matter whether you're competing for the Olympics or whether you're just a mum and dad, you know that you can take our product knowing that it is very safe for from that perspective. So moving on, let's give you lots of feedback. Now, this is actually Natalie Jenkinson, who is a 4 times Australian women's boxing champion. And she was one of the people we gave the product to back when we first launched Neumi. And she said, if the one in the middle there, you can read the whole testimonial yourself, but the key point I want you to read is here. By day 13, I was training better than I did in years. Swish gave me back the endurance and recovery I had in my elite fighting years. Phenomenal. Some people look at this and say, well, that's great, but you know what? I'm a vegan, or I'm a, whatever. I eat clean green veggies. I won't notice your product. Well, Alexander Glover is a vegan triathlete, and he says, I immediately noticed when the product was in my body with focus and brain clarity. But here's the key point. After the first 4 days, I had a tremendous increase in energy, even had a disinterest in coffee. And then week 1, my performance, my running speed, my muscle strength, all became noticeably better, and the recovery was better as well. Now, moving on to New Zealand, this is actually a good friend of mine and one of our Neumi members, Greg Dixon. In his 20s, Greg used to do half-day cycling events, and he'd be spent, no more energy left in the tank. Now at 57, he says, because of NutraSwish, I'm able to go out and do multiple days of riding and still have energy to spare as well. Now, you notice we saw on one end, 62 years of age, Bill Gillespie, and then we saw a very young powerlifting female. Doesn't matter how old you are. So I decided to test this on my son. Now, I'm not a powerlifter by any stretch of the imagination, but my son is actually a 24-year-old powerlifting athlete, personal trainer, and gym manager. And you can see here in the middle, he says 4 weeks into using Swish around training, as well as post sessions, more personal bests, including hitting his highest deadlift. And he's continued to go on and bust some more records as well. Now, we recently started a sports testimonial test in Australia and New Zealand, and this is one of the first feedbacks that came out. This guy was one of the most skeptical people I've ever heard from. His name's Ben from Sydney. He's an MMA gym owner, and this is the key point in the middle. He said, after taking Neumi for just 3 days, I definitely experienced an uplift in my cardio. In fact, I was able to go 20 minutes in the ring with one of the fittest MMA fighters I know, and I normally wouldn't last more than 5 minutes. So guaranteed to prove results to that guy. Then we also have around the world, because of our project in Australia, started to attract testimonials from other people in the world. So Nagy Arnold in Romania came back, and you'll see the bit in the middle here. He said, before Neumi, I saw talented athletes struggle with fatigue, slow recovery, lingering soreness. Since using Neumi and into my own routine and recommending to the fighters, the change has been incredible. During training stays strong, the energy stays strong from start to finish. His focus is sharper, his recovery time's dramatically faster, his athletes are bouncing back quicker, training harder, and staying injury free longer as well. So all the sporting codes. Let's move into running. This is one of the first people we got feedback from our recent sports test in Australia, Brad Robinson. And in the middle here, you see, he says, despite a run being 400 meters long than his previous time trial, I still managed to take 7 minutes off the overall time. Real signs the product is supporting his performance. This is crazy. Now you'll see just an everyday gym goer. This is Sky from Mandurah, and she said her training sessions feel stronger than ever. She's increased all her lifts this week. Recovery between workouts has noticeably improved, even whilst being hit by a bug. She's bounced back incredibly fast. Now, just briefly on that, if you go to PubMed, the world scientific website for peer-reviewed studies, you can type in glutathione and anything known to man, and you'll see all sorts of results. One of the biggest things is glutathione boosts your energy, clinically proven, boosts your immune system, detoxes your cells, and reduces inflammation. Let's talk about immune system. Well, athletes on this trial, they all saw they bounced back much faster. Why is that? Glutathione replenishes the energy of your T cells and B cells, and they are the assassins that goes after viruses and things like that. Not suggesting we're treating, curing, and preventing any diseases. I'm just saying when your glutathione levels are high, your T cells and B cells are really agile. Boom, they get the virus. If you have low levels of glutathione, guess what happens? Then your T cells and B cells are sluggish, and maybe the virus takes hold. So that's why she's reporting that. Moving on. We also have some athletes on the product. Now, this was, again, one of our very first Australian tests, Andre, who's a competitive cyclist, and he noticed a remarkable shift in energy and consistency in his rides after 2 weeks. And he actually noticed that Strava, if you don't know what Strava is, it's an app that will monitor everything for you. That said, man, you have had stronger average watts and speeds since using this product. The key standout here was his first cyclocross race. And he felt all in control the whole way, stayed in high heart rate zones without blowing up, and landed his first top 10. Nothing but thumbs up from him, and he's brought other athletes into the table since, recommending it to lots of people. This is Logan, also from the same area, cyclocross racer, and he actually says, I had 2 standout training sessions where my RPE, rate of perceived exertion, measured by his app, also was significantly lower despite maintaining the same power output. So we have scientific evidence from these athletes that their results have improved. So there's nothing left to chance. The apps themselves are proving the results, other than people were breaking world records as well. Now, I'll put this one in here for a reason, because it doesn't matter how old you are. This lady is not an athlete, so to speak, but she is like a personal trainer who also does personal training for the mature aged. And, I'm 57 now. I just busted a rotor cuff. Maybe I should have gone her session instead. But she does a strength class once a week, as well as other exercise classes, and she's been able to increase her weight size, and she didn't think the chase would be so quick. Again, she's been personal training for older people for quite some time. So for her to see a result was phenomenal. And I want to finish on this one. This is because our product isn't only for sports. Now, Maria Fahy is actually a former White Fern. That's the New Zealand cricket team. And she went through a situation where she had some life challenges affect her, and that had a huge impact on being constantly fatigued all the time. And she had very slow recovery before Neumi, and discomfort and soreness that held her back from doing things like cricket. And it's the first product that got her back on her feet. Now, look at the bottom here. It wasn't just about performance. It's about feeling herself again. Honestly, she didn't expect such a difference. She's so glad she tried this product. Phenomenal feedback. Now, today on the sports performance testimonial example here, we're just talking about the NutraSwish product, which has glutathione, cysteine in it, which helps you produce more glutathione ongoing, plus curcumin and vitamin C to help boost all those things you've seen. So the results speak for themselves. I want you to know that we use the same delivery method for other products. Now, for me personally, this is a cognition product called Neuro, but it does have nano-sized caffeine in it as well. When I double it up with my NutraSwish, I find amplified results even more. So if you're using a pre-workout, which is not good for you, here is a product that is natural and actually going to be good for you to replace that as well. So there's that. There's a women's health product. There's a skin product that gets to layers of the skin never been done before. There's a hair product, and I would love to show you the top of my head, but the results in 2 weeks have blown my mind. Anyway, I want to thank you for attending this session, and I'd encourage you to get back to the person who sent this to you to get yourself on the product yourself if you're involved in sports.
Helps when I'm not muted. Absolutely remarkable training. I tell you what, when you think about performance and endurance athletes and what their body goes through, and to see the performance level, the recovery time in such a fashion just by swishing our molecular encapsulated glutathione is absolutely remarkable. And the good thing is, everyone here, is that this presentation was live streamed to Neumi's YouTube channel. So if you know anyone in the sports area, whether they're a long distance runner, or a cyclist, some type of an endurance athlete, or whether they're a performance athlete, playing some type of professional sports, weightlifting, boxing, football, baseball, doesn't matter. Anyone in the, whether you, even if you're like me, just you're a home gym rat, where you just work out at your home doing body weight exercises. It truly makes a difference, a huge difference. It's changed my life when it comes to being able to get on the ground and do all the things that you need to keep in shape. So remarkable training. I'm certainly glad everyone here had the opportunity to be a part of it. Next, Steve Scott will not be doing his normal Thursday night call this week. He's still they're still en route from the cruise, the Diamond Cruise that just ended. And so next Tuesday night, we're going to have the global opportunity presented by Prue from New Zealand. So she always does a fantastic job. I encourage everyone to make sure that you're here. Invite everybody that you know, because it's going to be a fantastic opportunity event. Until then, everyone have a great weekend, and good morning, good afternoon, and